Hey everybody, and welcome to our early comics review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are releasing this week. They come out on Wednesday, but right now, you can head on over to infinityflux.net where you can go ahead and order these books. They are live while supplies last, so go ahead and get your grubby mitts on them. That way you don't have to worry about them selling out. You will already have yours ordered, whether you come to the store and pick it up or it mails out to you. Either way, you'll already have it. So, this week of books, we got some big event tie-ins. We've got some
couple number ones,
several
number twos, I think.
Yeah,
just some continuing stories. Nothing super duper crazy, but just some solid
there's no
books.
one big landmark
Yeah.
Clearly this is the big book of the week. So you'll have fun sifting through these, finding which ones you're most excited about.
Yeah, but these weeks are fun sometimes because then it's like, well, what's everybody's pick of the week? Like
it gets a little bit more diverse.
Yeah, when Absolute Batman comes out, it's like, well, yeah, that's obviously everybody. But when it's like this, it's like, oh, it may be a little bit more varied.
Yeah, so, we're going to kick it off with some of the All Fight Month books, and you've got our first round.
Yeah, as soon as I got computer problems, okay, and there we go. Yes, now we're ready to go.
Only computer problems, the only kind of problems you have.
That's right. So we're going to start with Titans number 30, which is crazy that we're starting with a number 30, but we're doing...
I know, a lot of people are confused, when the book came in, they're like, I don't see this on the invoice. It's like, no, you have to look way over here where it says Titans 30 to know which book this is.
Yeah, so this is Titans number 30. This is part of the ongoing Titans series. This is not a one-shot like that book is. But we're starting with the number 30 because this is round 4 of DCKO, the All Fight Month. This is from John Layman and Pete Woods, your standard Titans team right now. And so, just real quick, if you haven't been reading the Titans series, but you want to read this, you absolutely can, because this is kind of mostly disconnected from what's been going on in Titans. And I've been looking forward to this one because this is science versus technology.
Yeah.
And you might think, oh, it's going to go, one way, big time, big time one way or big time the other, but it's actually pretty evenly matched. Most of this issue, just like all of these, are just a fight between the two title characters. So I can't tell you too much because that would be spoiling everything.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you who wins. But one thing that I really did like in this book is that one of the cool things about all of these All Fight Month books is that characters can choose different forms that they've used over the years, whether from their past or from their future. And both characters in this do at some point choose a different form, and that's always fun to see. And it's always fun to see how does this form. And I feel like they strategize a little bit more than some other characters. Mm-hmm. They're like, let's see, he's going to pick this form, so I need a different form that can overwrite that or whatever. So that was pretty cool.
And you would think, how many forms has Swamp Thing had? There's a few, but Cyborg, there is a cool scene where you see all of Cyborg's options, and another one that's fun, looking through there, and you'll see some funny ones and ones you maybe didn't expect to see in this.
Probably this issue has the coolest display of all the forms yet, I would say. So, I'm not going to tell you who wins. I will tell you that there's a couple more pages in here that are related to the Titans series and kind of setting up what is going to go on next issue, which is still a DCKO tie-in. And there's a couple pages that deal with the Dark Side possessed Booster Gold, and that story is ramping up and getting pretty crazy too. So just the next round of DCKO All Fight Month. Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. Who wins? You'll have to read it to find out. But it was still really fun.
Yeah.
And actually, this is the only cover that we have, is the A cover right here. I think we had some others, but I guess they got sold out already.
Yeah. Well, moving on to round 5, we have Harley Quinn versus Zatanna. This is a one-shot. This isn't tied to either of the character series. Zatanna doesn't have one right now. This is not a Harley Quinn issue. This is a one-shot like the Superman Captain Atom one that we got a few weeks ago. So
I was the first one to do it this time.
This is by Leo Williams, and the art is by Mirka Andolfo, which is awesome.
Yeah,
you've got an A cast on here.
Yeah, and I really like her style for these two characters.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah, it feels like a you know like video games have like AAA titles.
Yeah.
This feels like, oh, it's got the AAA look to it with her doing the art and colors. But this one, going into these, we kind of all thought like, okay, they're gonna like find themselves in a battlefield. Maybe the battlefields will be a little different. But we've seen through this All Fight Month that they have pretty wildly different versions of these fights. And this one is different than all the others, where they find themselves in, at least it begins with Zatanna, in almost a maze type
Mm-hmm.
place, but it's like a maze that's tailored towards Zatanna. So it's like bookshelves with weird things on them and skulls and all of that. And she even notices like this does feel a little bit more like me branded.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit funhouse too, because wasn't there a scene where Harley was just like smashing mirrors?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, and it doesn't play into it a whole lot, but does set up they're not on a big like desolate battlefield. This
Yeah.
is kind of tailored towards them. And I'll say this issue, it did make me reread some parts a couple of times to really see, because there is a part where it does say that it's going to be a hand-to-hand fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, does that mean Zatanna can't use her magic?
Or just doesn't want to?
Or doesn't
yeah,
want
I'm not
to?
sure.
But we'll say there is a lot less Zatanna magic in this than you would expect for multiple reasons. But Zatanna comes into this fight a little bit with the Superman mindset of when she finally does run into Harley Quinn in here being like, let's have a fair fight.
Mhm.
She even knows about the like dark side energy that will infect you. And she seems pretty averse to that. She's like, I know I've got to win this. I've got to do all that. But, there is this darkness in this if I win. And, Harley Quinn at this point, it's not really a bad guy. So they kind of have a, not just a like, we're going to fight each other right away attitude. But Harley, on the other hand, does have that feeling, and she is ready to smash with her giant hammer. And this really is hard for Zatanna to fight back because she doesn't want to do all this crazy damage and everything. But as the rounds go on, maybe Zatanna will have to, go all out against Harley, whether she wants to or not, and how hard is that going to be for her to do? The rounds are very interesting. The way that Harley seems to want to pull out that fighting spirit from Zatanna, and you'll learn more about that as you read it. But yeah, what did you think about this? It's hard to describe like a lot of the All Fight months because it is a lot of them one-on-one, Harley with a big hammer, or them choosing how they're gonna fight.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about any of these All Fight Month books because 99.9% of every issue is just the two characters fighting, and that's it. It's like, what else is there to say that's not a spoiler, right?
Yeah.
We could talk about it if we were going to spoil everything. But I liked it all right. I was totally fine with the outcome. But the fight itself didn't give me quite what I wanted, seeing these two characters go up against each other. But I guess I understand why. I mean, I guess I understand they had to sort of even the playing field a little bit. But I just want to. I guess I probably wanted a little bit more out of Zatanna, because like you said, she's very much like Superman, where Superman was like, I don't think we should do this. I don't want to do this. Well, Zatanna in this is like, we're friends. I don't want to fight you, but you have to. You got to put that aside.
Yeah,
and
I will say
it.
Zatanna, this felt a little like on the run.
Yeah,
I did expect that from her, and that's the other thing I couldn't tell throughout it. Could she use her magic, but didn't? Or you'll have to read it and see what you think about it. There's a pretty major reason why she can't in the very beginning. But all that being said, I did really like this one. I love Zatanna, and I think the end of this is really strong when you kind of understand the whole thing. Plus, America Andolfo's art is phenomenal in this, especially
the art's great. The art is fantastic in this.
When Harley gets to pick another form to take. It's like panels of her trying out different ones that are really fun. So yeah, I really like this. But it was very different than what I expected.
Yeah.
From this fight.
It's probably out of the four we've had. It's probably my least favorite of the four so far. It's still pretty good, but I just wanted a little bit more, mostly from Zatanna in this fight. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, definitely pick it up. Also, the backup story with Booster Gold, like you said, is heating up pretty major.
Yeah.
To where I'm really interested to see when or how, because he's even kind of alluded he's going to go into the tournament.
Yeah.
How is that going to be? I think we'll kind of know by the end of the All Fight month how that's going to play out. But yeah, don't miss picking up Harley Quinn versus Zatanna. This is your A cover. And we do have a really nice, I think this is the one I got. I don't know. I think I got a couple of these because I love these characters. This is the Frank Cho variant.
Okay. We're going to move over to Marvel and talk about a couple of post-Imperial books. This is Black Panther.
Like a lot of these books go like in tandem.
Yeah, they're linked up. So this is Black Panther Intergalactic #1. This is written by Victor Laval, the artist by Stefano Nessi. I think this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. I'm pretty sure. And like I said, this follows the events of Imperial. And at the very beginning of this, Black Panther finds himself on a strange planet, but he has no idea how he got there, and we don't either. He's just there. And it kind of looks like he's in a regular jungle, to the point where he actually wonders if maybe he is still on Earth, just in a very heavily wooded place. I don't want to say exactly because it might spoil.
Yeah.
But he does encounter some monsters that tells him it's likely that he's not on Earth, because there's some big giant monsters that he has to deal with. But despite the fact that he is on a strange planet, he does run into a couple of very recognizable Marvel characters, and they're very earthbound Marvel characters. You don't really see these characters up in like cosmic adventures too much.
Yeah, they're characters that it made me. I was going back and forth, kind of second guessing where he was.
Yeah,
because of
right.
This.
And so it's like, well, why? How are they there, or are they really there, or is this something else? Who or what are they? How do they get there? A bunch of questions that we don't get answers to yet. We're not supposed to have answers.
And I'll say, I really like those characters.
Yep.
And they're characters you don't see a whole lot.
That's
so
right.
That was really cool.
That's right. So it's cool to see them. So right now there's a big mystery of where is Black Panther and how did he get there, and how did he run into these other characters, and he's going to run into some other villains, I think, in the next couple issues. And it's like, well, what's their deal, and how are they there, that kind of thing. So lots of questions there. So while all of that is going on, Shuri is on Wakanda Prime, and she's trying to find T'Challa, and she does find some clues as to where he may have gone, or where he may have been before he went to wherever he is. And she's going to follow that thread. And I want to say that maybe she winds up there too next issue, or maybe she winds up somewhere else, I think, according to the solicitation. But yeah, so this is just the next chapter in the Black Panther story, I guess, after Imperial's all wrapped up. You do not need to have read Imperial to read this. This has almost nothing to do with Imperial, other than the fact that T'Challa is once again, what does he say, Emperor of the Wakandan Empire, or Wakandan something. He's top dog again, whereas, over the last couple of years, Wakanda has been more of a democracy, but he's basically king again, and that happened in the Imperial story. That's pretty much all you need to know from Imperial to read this, but you don't really need all that much for that. So there is our A cover. And we got some cool variants. This is the Cafu variant.
I thought that was the A cover.
This is the A cover right there. That's the A cover by Cafu. I got these mixed up. This is a variant. This is the Diaz variant.
Yeah.
My bad. Sorry about that, guy. This is the Vecchio caked up variant right there. Actually, no, there's the what is it? It's a Stormbreakers cover, but also the sweater weather cover. Sweater weather. And then this is the Greg Land cover. Try to get that focus there. And then this is the I don't have the ratio for this one. This may be a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 25 ACO variant. We're selling that one for $14.99. And yeah, my bad. Again, this is the A cover by Cafu.
I'll say I really liked the opening scene of this where Black Panther, he's trying to figure out where he is, but he does encounter a big creature there.
Yeah.
And his thought process
For how to take
to
take
how
on
to
that creature.
take on it
Yeah.
and like assessing the situation. I was like, that's the Black Panther I really like. Is
Yeah.
he's a very smart, very tactical,
Yeah.
and doesn't just rush into a thing. He kind of takes in the whole thing and goes like, maybe I misread this the first time.
Yeah.
Now let me see what the best option is. And I love that super intelligent Black Panther.
Yeah, like what's the best way to handle this situation? It may not be with fists and claws.
Yeah.
There may be a better way to handle it.
Yeah. So I really, especially the Black Panther parts in this, I thought were really cool. Just cool to see Black Panther in the jungle.
Yeah.
Jumping on trees and like
Yep.
perched and stuff. Very classic. Well, next up, also spinning out of the Imperial event, we have Planet She-Hulk #2, and of course, following up on the events of Planet She-Hulk #1, where She-Hulk is now on Sakaar. She's kind of playing the martial type character, but also uh, uh, she doesn't want to interfere too much, but she has a sense of justice that she can't help but get into the middle of it sometimes. At the end of the last issue, the Queen of Sakaar, the king was newly appointed, and the queen, or he kind of appointed himself, and the queen got taken out during a kind of after party type thing. And it looked like it was by this cult that is called the Cult of 1,000 Eyes, I believe. So he is outraged about this, and he blames the cult, and he blames Hulks in general. He's like, every time there's Hulks here, something bad happens. But Jen, while she's there, has some different ideas, and especially when she kind of spars with one of Hulk's previous wives, who's still on Sakaar.
Well, Hulk's son's wife.
Yeah, Hulk's son's wife.
Yeah. Hiro Kala, his wife.
Yeah. She kind of gets the idea that maybe it's not all as straightforward as she thinks, and that's what I really like, is it brings in her kind of attorney deduction of like, hey, I know it looks this way, but maybe there's something different going on here. Let's not immediately start pointing fingers. The B story in this is about another former gladiator, which I like the kind of through line of, the gladiatorial warriors in this are pretty important, who also wants to lay claim to the throne, but maybe has better reasons for doing it.
Now, where do we know that guy from?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I was like, I don't remember him from Planet Hulk, but there's been a lot between Planet Hulk and this. There's been like a couple decades, right?
Yeah,
so
and
there's
he
a lot
has
more.
like a girlfriend or a lady friend that I also was like, the way they revealed her, I was like, should I know who that is?
Right.
But I didn't. So it may take me going back and looking at googling some names and everything. But this was a really fun issue, and I do really like this, almost like Game of Thrones they're setting up.
Yeah.
Of these different like factions vying for the throne, and She-Hulk caught in the middle of all of it with her big sword.
Which she does use.
Yeah.
Take that, Absolute Wonder Woman. She-Hulk uses her big sword.
Yeah. So it's really fun, and where this ends, I think it's going to be really cool, because I think we're going to see a big battle between a couple of different factions at some point, with She-Hulk maybe backing one of them. So really fun. We've got our A cover right here. We've got this really nice, I think I got this one. This is the Tim Seeley variant.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And we have a 1 in 25 variant. This is the Caballero variant that we are selling for $14.99. And yeah, we do see this character for like one panel, but I think the next issue we're going to learn a bit more about who they are.
The next issue is the one I'm really excited for.
Yeah, that's especially the last page of this one's like, oh, cool. Yeah. Like I want to see that.
Yeah, because this issue is kind of like, okay, it's the aftermath of all this stuff that happened in the first issue, and also teeing up what's going to happen in the next issue too. So it's kind of like a little bit of a breather issue, but the next one I think is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go on to Alien versus Captain America #2. I'm digging this series. Captain America, Bucky, Howling Commandos, Hydra, Xenomorphs in World War II. I am sold on that. Yeah. So in this one, Captain America and Bucky and the Howling Commandos, they enter a Hydra base. with the hopes of rescuing one of the Howling Commandos who was taken captive last issue. And they find something much worse when they go in there. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you've seen any of the Alien movies, and you've seen, Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, and whatever group of characters she's with, and they slowly walk into a base, and they're like, "Wait a minute, where is everybody?" And then they find something horrible. That's kind of what this is like.
Maybe some wall decoration.
Pretty much, yeah. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this place, dust mites everywhere. Look." So yeah, and then there is a lot. I can't really. There's not. I don't have much to say about this because the vast majority of this issue is a lot of brutal action. What I will tell you is not everybody makes it. And it does set up, uh, you, it does set up what's to come in issue number 3. We talked about issue number 3 a couple weeks back on Comics from the Future, and what the solicitation says about issue number 3 kind of gets set up near the end of this. But yeah, I mean, it's just Cap and Bucky and the Howling Commandos taking on xenomorphs, and it feels just like what you would see in an alien movie, but you've just got Captain America and Bucky in there, and it's World War II instead of like the far future, whatever. But I really liked it. I can't wait to read the next piece of it. I love books like this that are just completely doing their own thing. To heck with whatever's going on in the main Marvel continuity. This is just its own story. These stories are great. If you're an Alien fan, Captain America fan, I highly recommend this one. So there's your A cover right there, and we have this 1 in 25 Parator variant that we're selling for $19.99.
Well, next up for me, I've got Absolute Flash number 10. And this, I don't want to say kind of kicks off a new story, but I think from the last issue, we are slowly moving into kind of a new and very revealing part of Absolute Flash. So now Wally and the Rogues are fugitives. They kind of turned on everybody as well and are now working together a little bit, which is really fun. So I don't know what is it, Cadmus at Fort Fox? Have they said that's Cadmus?
I don't think they have a name. Cadmus would be cool. Cadmus
It feels kind of Cadmus-y.
Or is it Star Labs? Or Star, the equivalent of Star
I don't know, because it's Fort Fox, but
because Cadmus is more about like cloning and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever the group is at Fort Fox, with Wally's dad and all of that, are now sending out people to try and hunt down Wally and the Rogues. But the Rogues kind of give Wally a distraction so he can get away, and Wally heads to the lab at Fort Fox where this all began, where Barry was. And some really weird stuff starts happening. Wally starts seeing, and we've seen a little bit of this in previous issues, almost can see like visions of the past around him. And that starts getting really cool as he starts witnessing some stuff. And then a very mysterious voice starts calling out to him. But is it who you think it is, or is it something much worse? We know in the next issue, Wally is going into, is it the Speed Force? Is it a negative zone type area? Even though I know that's Marvel, it looks like another dimension.
Yeah.
We do get a name in this for something, for maybe what this place is called, but you'll have to read it to find out. It's a really interesting, very action-packed issue, especially going between the Rogues fighting another familiar Flash character we've seen in this series before, but really seeing them go at it is really awesome. And then the stuff going on with Wally as he's slowly discovering, the wider world of what his powers are capable of. So yeah, this one was really cool. I'm really excited about the next one when we go into that other realm and what does he find there. So don't miss out on Absolute Flash number 10. We've got our A cover here. We've got a Quinones variant. Very fun. And then we have this Haining variant.
All right, next up, we are entering into our. This is the segment of the show where we talk about X-Men: Age of Revelation. So we got 5 different tie-ins coming out this week. And the first one we're going to start with is The Last Wolverine, number 3. All of these are number 3 issues because they were only ever going to be 3 issues, so we're at the end here.
How many weeks do we have left in these?
One more. So
One week.
Next week is the final batch of these books. And then the week after that, which is December 31st, last day of the year, that's when the X-Men Age of Revelation finale issue comes out. And it's also when Ultimate Endgame number 1 comes out, which
not trying to flex or anything.
yeah, we actually don't know if we'll get to open these and read them or not, but that's what the blind bags look like. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, all I'm trying to say is December 31st, big day for comics.
Yeah, big day for comics. And a lot of the books this week, the Age of Revelation books, are funneling towards that finale, absolutely. Which is really cool.
So going back to Last Wolverine number 3, at the end of last issue, Wendigo and Nightcrawler and Heather Hudson, Vindicator from Alpha Flight, who in this alternate future is Logan's wife, they all infiltrated Philadelphia to try to rescue Logan. But then at the end of last issue, Heather revealed that she was actually going to kill him instead using the Muramasa blade. And when Wendigo and Nightcrawler find out about this, they try to stop her because they want to try to save Logan, not kill him. And of course, that leads to them fighting each other. But their skirmish doesn't last very long before Logan shows up. And then it's just like a big battle royale between all of them. And most of this issue was just all of them fighting each other. And I don't want to tell you how it ends, but there are a couple of quite surprising moments in this. And this issue does push Logan's story forward. And that might have an impact on the Age of Revelation finale issue coming out in 2 weeks. So, because when we first heard about this, we started seeing the covers. We were like, oh, what's up with the mask, and why is he, what's up with Logan? And we get a little bit of that in here. So yeah, so if you're interested in seeing what happens to Logan, check this out. And like I said, that may factor into the finale issue. So there is our A cover right there, and that actually kind of sort of does happen. Wendigo and Wolverine or Logan going at it. This is the Lionel Francis U variant. That's actually a pretty good representation of what happens in this issue. And I like this one. This is the I thought I had it. Oh, the Paulo Siqueira variant right there.
Well, I've got a pretty big one, possibly the most important one of the Age of Revelation books. This is X-Men Book of Revelation number 3. And if you were to only read a couple of books for the Age of Revelation, it needs to be Amazing X-Men and it needs to be this.
Yep.
So, rounding this one out, I feel like Amazing X-Men, you're seeing what's going on with the X-Men and there's half of the story. This is what's going on with Doug Ramsey, Revelation side of the story. And you could basically get all your answers from those two.
Yeah. And luckily, the 2 books that you kind of sort of need to read, this and Amazing X-Men, they're both good.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like, oh, I need to read that. No, it's like you get to read those. They're both really, really good.
And this was a really, really good issue of this 3-issue series.
It's my favorite tie-in of these 5 that we're going to talk about. Yeah.
So this one's super important. We learn the true story of Elbecca, who I kind of like that we were also kind of strung along through this. After the first issue, like, oh, she, hopefully she's okay and she's being taken advantage of, and she's being manipulated by Revelation and stuff. Yeah. But we slowly started to learn that maybe she's not as innocent and harmless as she seems.
Don't worry about her.
Well, in this one, we learn her real name and what her mission was, because we learned in the last one, she was sent by Apocalypse from Morocco to infiltrate Revelation's territory and his inner circle. And we get the full story. And she goes from being cutesy to, like, she's a little spitfire. Yeah. Like, she's tough.
Yeah, I was like, when this whole event is over, can she somehow come back to the present day and be in the books? She's cool.
So what is really cool in here is all the clues that we've actually seen along this are coming together. I wrote that plans were quite literally seeded even in previous issues, and you'll see what I mean by that. But there is a lot of action in this. but also there is the kind of full explanation of what Revelation's plan were, which I think is why one reason this makes this so important is
Yeah.
like we learned a little bit like what his plan was in Amazing X-Men when Psylocke
Yep.
told everybody, you know, he's actually planning on taking over everything
Yeah.
and controlling people. This gets into the nitty-gritty of what his plan and where he was like inspired by.
Yeah.
And even pulling in some stuff that we didn't know how they're related, like the technical organic virus that's been going on. All of that is explained here.
Yeah, like this issue answers a question that we had from the first issue of X-Vengers, which the third issue, that comes out next week. So everything's kind of starting to come together. Like you said, Psylocke tells the X-Men what his plan was, but that's like a high level overview. This one is like, oh, that's his plan. Oh, that's how he's gonna do it. So lots of revelation. I didn't mean that. Lots of revelations in here, though. Yeah.
So this one is really cool. You know, it's really like this is, you know, the foot is on the gas by this point, and then the final page
is awesome.
Is just an awesome shot, but also is like, here we go in the finale. This is what we're getting, and I can't wait to see it. So don't miss this issue if you've been reading the Age of Revelation books, because this series has been great. You know, if they could collect Amazing X-Men and this in one trade, that's the one I would get.
And then like the number 0 issue, and then the 2 bookends. That would be the perfect collection of Age of Revelation.
You could get that, somebody be like, this is all you really need.
It's all you need, yep.
You may wonder about some stuff in the background, but this is the story. So highly recommend picking this up. It's so much fun. There is your A cover. And then we also have this Tommaso variant, which is really cool.
So the next one we have is Omega Kids number 3, and I've enjoyed. This isn't super crucial to the main story, but I have pretty well enjoyed this series as well. So in this one, you know, we've known since the first issue that the Omega Kids have been messing with Quentin Quire's mind, and you know, throughout the whole series. But in this issue, Rachel Summers, who popped up last issue, she helps Quentin Quire kind of snap out of all of their, you know, skullduggery. And from there, Rachel and Quentin Quire and another character take on the Omega Kids. And it's a lot of this issue is this big like psychic battle, which I always like seeing, you know, all these like glowy things, and is what you're seeing really what you're seeing, and throwing like telekinetic blades and just all kinds of stuff like that. There's a bunch of that in here. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but just like a lot of the other final issues of these Age of Revelation tie-ins, this one does have a pretty unexpected ending, but it's one that I really, really liked. It's something that, well, no, never mind. I don't see this having any impact on the Age of Revelation finale, but I did like this series. I do think it's one of the better tie-ins. Like I said, it's not required reading for the event, but if you want to, you know, if you're going to read all of the Age of Revelation stuff later, trying to figure out what's the best one, what are the best ones, this one's one of the better ones. Just because it's interesting, because the whole series the whole series is full of psychics, and it's like, is the thing I'm looking at real, or does the character that I'm following think they're seeing that, but really something else is happening? There's all that mystery going on throughout all 3 issues. So this has been one of the better tie-ins, and this had a cool ending. And this is the A cover, and that's the only one we have.
Oh, okay. So
next up is Radioactive Spider-Man.
This is a little hard. I like to stay positive, but this one was a little hard for me. And not for any major reason other than I really did not understand this issue. I really hope
I didn't get it.
I hope everyone else loves it and completely gets it, and I'm the one left out of this. But for me, I don't have a whole lot to say about Rogue Storm number 3, because I couldn't quite follow. We're still dealing with the Rogue Red. We've got this demon that was inside of Storm that gets let out, and there's a lot of dialogue in this, and I just had a really hard time following this one. So I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than it wraps up here.
Yeah.
It does have a definitive ending, and does this play into the larger thing? I don't think it will.
Not at all.
Unless Storm shows up in the background of the finale somehow. But this was difficult. I feel like maybe if I had been reading the regular Storm series, I would understand. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm missing a piece.
Yeah.
And so maybe you know those pieces are, and you were like, oh yeah, this makes complete sense. But for me, just coming to this, reading 1, 2, and 3, I had a really hard time with this. But your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
So
My mileage is the same. I didn't understand any of this either. But yeah, if you like it or if you want to try it out, go for it.
yeah,
We just didn't get it.
yeah, I don't want to dissuade you from picking it up, but I also don't want to lie to you and say it's so great, I
Right,
loved
right,
it.
right.
When I personally had a really hard time understanding it, but it is coming out. We got that great Humberto Ramos A cover, and that is the only cover I have.
Okay. Well, the last one we have for this week is Radioactive Spider-Man #3. And we found out at the end of issue 1 that Aunt May was turned into a big giant monster thanks to her exposure to the X virus.
I always
And
knew that she had that lurking inside
yeah,
of her.
yeah. So it always brings out your inner personality. So in this one, so at the end of last issue, she turned into that big monster and she went completely out of control. And in this one, Miles and Gwen showed up last issue, and in this one, Monster Aunt May is just destroying everything, and Miles and Gwen are begging Peter to do what needs to be done in order, or before more people die. Like please do what you need to do, or else more people are going to get killed, right? And so Peter is still trying to figure out a way to save Aunt May and everyone else. And he finally makes a decision about what he's going to do, that he hopes will end this whole thing once and for all. And I'm not going to tell you what that decision is or how the book ends, but I did like the ending, and I thought it was done really well. So yeah, this is not going to affect the main Age of Revelation story at all, unless like Spider-Man shows up and punches Revelation in the face or something. But this was definitely off to the side, just dealing with Spider-Man. But yeah, I thought it was. This has been a pretty fun series too.
Mhm.
I liked seeing Spider-Man in this. And yeah, it all wraps up right here. So there's
It's all
our
webbed up.
yeah, it's all webbed up. That's our A cover, and I think we had a couple of. I guess not. We also have this McCone cover.
Well, getting back to the regular Marvel universe, I've got Black Cat #5, which I've loved this series so much. It's just super fun. It's pretty lighthearted. It feels like some classic, I don't know, like 2000 Spider-Man,
Yeah.
just without Spider-Man, but Black Cat kind of in that role of just stumbling her way from one trouble to the next.
It
And
also kind of feels like I don't know, like a supplement to Amazing Spider-Man, or
yeah,
maybe like a side quest, because especially in this issue and in some others as well, like they've made reference to the things going on in
yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man. So it's kind of felt like a nice little extra side dish or whatever, like an
Yeah.
appetizer or something.
Like the whole reason why she's doing what she's doing is
Is
because of Spider-Man and Norman being Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and kind of how that has messed up the criminal ecosystem
Mhm.
of the city, and she's trying to right that. So uh we see in this one, and it was kind of right at the end of the last one, that Black Cat has been set up. She has thought she was going into one situation, but now it looks like she is guilty of like stashing all this money in this house, all this stolen stuff, and the police show up. But for once, she is not guilty,
Yeah.
but she's been set up, and this there's nothing she can really do about it. She's been trying to play the hero as best she can. Basically trying to play the hero so that ecosystem can function correctly
Right.
in the absence of a good guy Spider-Man.
Isn't it basically like she's trying to be a crime fighter so that people feel safe, which makes them easier to steal from?
Yeah,
Kind
yeah,
of, sort
because
of. Yeah.
with all the big villains out and about, and not even trusting Spider-Man, people are way more guarded,
Right,
and,
right, right.
and
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
she's being a hero. I feel like that's what she tells herself, even though maybe deep down she really does like being
Yeah.
a hero. But she's caught, and what is really fun is now that like the public knows that she was trying to be a hero, there's a lot of questions and a lot of media flying about what was this all just a ploy? Is she's still really a bad guy? That stuff's really interesting. But she is going to jail, and a lot of her criminal friends are there to
Mhm.
welcome her. Maybe not in the best way, but there may be some hope for Black Cat from a unlikely ally that comes into the picture, and I don't want to tell you who it is because it was a really fun reveal, and I with some really fun dialogue and conversations that come out of that.
And I was like, can this book? I mean, I'm enjoying it. But can this book just be a team up book between the two of them all the time?
Yeah. So that was really cool. And then we get the kind of finale of the Tombstone story that's been going on since the first issue. Like this, basically, very classic style has a final page that's like, wraps up this chunk of story. Which when I saw that, I was like, it's been a while since I've got like essentially what would be Spider-Man sitting on the top of a building and going like, it's tough being Spider-Man, but that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like next time,
You're right.
but it's a really good like, hey, if this is collected 5 issues in a trade, you have a full story here that doesn't leave too much dangling outside of it.
Not the end of the series, just the end of the first story arc.
Because I was about to say the next issue starts the Daredevil story, which was kind of set up in this run, but the next one, the cover is Black Cat and Daredevil, and I'm so excited about that. I feel like that's also going to be one to be like, can this just be a series, Black Cat and Daredevil? She works great as a foil to different characters, but this was a really fun issue. It wraps up the first story arc, and can't wait to see what happens next. We've got this great Adam Hughes cover, which feels a lot like some of those classic Catwoman covers with the Adam Hughes police lineup Catwoman cover for sure. So there is your A cover. We've also got this Ben Oliver cover. It's really nice. I love the purple.
Speaking of Daredevil, we have Daredevil and Punisher, The Devil's Trigger, #2. The subtitle is not on the cover. I have no idea why, but it's Daredevil and Punisher, The Devil's Trigger.
It's a file they forgot to click.
Yeah, right. It's like a layer in Photoshop they forgot to turn on. So now that the Punisher has taken out most, if not all, of the Nucci crime family, there are reports that are starting to come in, like you see it on the news and stuff, about a big power struggle in Hell's Kitchen. And of course, if it's Hell's Kitchen, that means Daredevil's going to get involved. Of course, he got involved last issue too. So after taking out all these Nucci crime family members, Punisher's pretty banged up, and he is trying to get back to his base, and he takes the train because he's like he can't get there any other way. He's so banged up. But while he's on the train, he's confronted by some more thugs, and he's going to have to deal with them. And meanwhile, Matt Murdock is waiting to get on that same train because he's going to go see Misty Knight about some things. But of course, he's got the super hearing, so he can sense and he hears, he knows who's on the train, and he knows that there's some things going on. So, he switches to Daredevil, and he gets involved with all this as well. There's also a kind of a few pages that deal with Matt talking to Foggy and asking him to do some research on an old case because one of the people who should have been one of the people that were involved in this old case, they should have been locked up for like 35 years, and they're out after just a couple of years. And now they are kind of they're one of the players in this power struggle as well. So Foggy's in here. We've got Daredevil. We've got Punisher. Daredevil and Punisher still have different opinions on how to deal with this power struggle, even how to deal with the thugs on the train. But just like the first issue, this feels like a very classic Daredevil and Punisher story. Again, this is not connected to anything else that's going on in the current Marvel universe. Because over there, the Punisher is under the control of Wilson Fisk, and Daredevil is, he's about to get his own new series, and he was a priest for a while. Forget all of that. This is just on its own, by itself, Daredevil and Punisher story. Feels very classic. I love when these two characters get together. So you don't need to know anything else about any of those other books to enjoy this one if you're a fan of either of these characters. So this is our A cover, which I really, really like.
Yeah.
And we have this really cool Michael Cho. Shoot, I don't have the ratio on this. Maybe a 1 to 25. We are selling this one for $19.99.
Would love a Michael Cho Daredevil series. That would look great.
Absolutely.
Well, next up, I've got Youngblood #2. I could actually talk about this one for a while because I have a lot of thoughts about this one, as I'm sure people understand and know going into it. But I will say this issue kind of assumes you know a lot about some of these characters, not just Youngblood, but some old Image, like
Extreme
Extreme
Universe,
Universe
or Extreme
characters.
Studios, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that I didn't know. I know them in passing, but I had a little hard time. I was figuring stuff out as I went. So we know we've got this big villain named Xerxes who's trying to do something, and we don't really know what it is, but he's bad. He's bad because he also has a pointy helmet.
That's right.
Um,
Why is he bad? What's he doing? Why is he doing it? I don't know.
he's on a yacht,
Yeah.
which also seems bad.
If you were wondering, if you were hoping after reading the first issue to get some answers to those questions in this issue, sorry,
Yeah,
there are
it's
no.
not really. I think I've heard from like third party of like explanation of what's going on, but it's not within the book. So we saw at the end of the first issue that Supreme showed up, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I like Supreme. I like that just crazy era of Image Comics,
Yeah.
and you had, later Alan Moore took on writing Supreme, and you have the Supreme family. They all show up in this, and it seems like Xerxes and Supreme have a history. Maybe they're even from the same place. Now, the part I didn't know is I don't know Supreme's origin. I know he's like pseudo Superman. He's from another planet.
Yeah.
But I don't know all the details about that. And it sounds like from the interaction between Xerxes and Supreme that maybe they have this long history. Maybe they were in partners at one point, but it's not clearly spelled out. It's just through the dialogue what you get. But there's some other characters that show up in here, and those are ones that I didn't quite know. I could figure it out because they look a lot like other Marvel characters that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, right.
But there's quite a few other characters that show up in here. There's still the big fight going on on the yacht. Like between the last issue and this one, probably not even an hour has passed.
Yeah.
In the story, but you've got Bad Rock who is not looking too good. He might be down for the count. You've got Hardware, Die Hard,
Yeah.
Die Hard. Hardware's the DC. Die Hard, who's facing off on the in the like bowels of the cruise ship or the yacht and everything. But what's weird about this is it does feel like they're building up to a big event. By this issue, there's kind of a name of a thing that's said, and it's like something is coming, and it's like, really, where?
Yeah, what is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
Now at the end there is a kind of like dun 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 moment with a bunch of characters, and I did like that because that is another character I really like.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it was a book that I really like. So if you're nostalgic for a lot of the Extreme Studios, the '90s characters, this gives it to you. This is kind of fan service for fans of that era of Image. Is it breaking a lot of new ground? No, but if you like those characters and you like that kind of energy and that storytelling, this feels like you could have picked it up in a dollar box and been like, yeah, this just feels like another issue of Youngblood. So it's what's working for it. Yeah. Even the ears. But that's what's going for it and going against it. This feels like I read a book from the '90s.
Oh, and then there's also who's
that's what he's talking about is like, oh, I think you're setting something up.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I think this is really interesting, and more power to Liefeld that he gets to return to his characters that he created and gets to tell a new story with them. And I'm interested in reading what's going to happen here. Is he building up to a big event? And we'll have to see.
I don't know.
I want to see some cameos by Spawn, Savage Dragon, some of the other Image characters.
I just want Cyberforce. They're my them and Savage Dragon were always my two favorites back in the '90s.
I was just reading the Spawn spinoff book Violator that happened back in the '90s, and Youngblood play a part in that because they're in that world, and so there's a big something going on, and they appear, and I like that Image universe where all these characters exist in the same thing. So if something's going on, the other ones are going to show up, and I feel like Shadowhawk or one of those could appear in here at some point. But all that being said, if you like Youngblood, you're going to continue to like this. If you're new to it, it might be a little difficult because there's a lot that is assumed that you know in this. So here is our A cover with Shaft. And this is not a variant for that book, but we did get a second printing of _1 that we may already be all sold out of. But this is, I believe, the 1 in 10 or 1 in 25 of that by Liefeld. It's a black and white, but it's an homage to New Mutants 98, just with the Youngblood and friends. So we are selling that one for $9.99. That's going to go fast. People love the homage covers, especially by the person who originally did the cover.
All right, well, we're going to go back to Marvel and talk about Amazing Spider-Man Torn #3. And in this one, so the first few pages of this are Spider-Man fighting Evangeline, who is, this weird, demon lady here. She's been kind of the main antagonist of the series. So they're fighting. They were fighting last issue. They're fighting here. But that fight kind of ends abruptly and surprisingly. And we don't really have a lot of answers as to what happened. We'll get that in a future issue. And most of this issue was actually relationship stuff between Peter and MJ and Gwen and Harry. And normally, I would want a little bit more action in my Spider-Man book, but because it's these characters, because it's set back when they were in college,
and because you've had a drought of that in the other Spider-Man books.
Yeah, right. Because we don't get much Peter and Mary Jane other than, or Peter and anybody really, other than Ultimate Spider-Man. This felt nice. I like these characters. I like the time period this is set in, so I didn't mind that most of this is relationship stuff. The only problem is this doesn't really fit with original continuity from like the actual comics from back in the late 60s and 70s, because Peter and MJ in this are pretty much together, and even, well, I won't say what he says, but they're together in this. But in the original continuity, Peter and MJ didn't get together until after Gwen died. So this is a little bit out of continuity. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe like some of the other books we talked about, this is its own thing. Don't worry about it. It's just a little bit of a head scratcher, but nothing too major. But we get some nice moments with, because MJ's feeling a little. She doesn't know about Peter and Spider-Man, right? So she's feeling he's always running off, and that makes her feel ways. And she has a nice conversation with Aunt May, which I thought was really nice. And and Aunt May, you would think she's like, oh, he's just always been that way, but just be patient. But no, I mean, she's straight up, she's like, you should do this or you should do this. And there's some stuff with Peter and Peter and Harry and Gwen, and there's just a whole bunch of like all that stuff. So if you like those characters, then hopefully you're reading this, because I think this is a lot of fun. That's it. That's pretty much all there is going on in this. So there's our A cover right there, and we have some nice variants. This is
really nice.
Yeah, this is the Scotto. Did I write that down right? Scotto. This is the Tony Daniel cover. That's real nice. And this is the 1 in 25 Harrell variant.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that we're selling for $19.99. I love that Peter with the costume underneath, and yeah, that's really fun.
It's a little Superman feeling. Well, next up, I've got Marvel Rivals Ignite #1. And this is cool because it almost feels like a crossover between Marvel Rivals and Peach Momoko's Demon Days.
Oh, okay.
Because even though Demon Days, came out before Marvel Rivals and didn't have anything to do with it, this has I guess in her continuity, Demon Days story. So this has 3 stories in it. So the first one is, I guess what's Marvel Rivals about it is it's like characters versing each other.
Okay.
So in this one, Peach Momoko does a Demon Days story with Psylocke and Venom, but they're those versions of the characters.
Okay.
I haven't checked in a while. There may be like skins that look like the Demon Days characters coming to Marvel Rivals are there now, so maybe it has something to do with that. But there's some other stories in here as well. There is a Luna Snow versus Hela story by Mitsuyasu Sakai that puts Luna, she is putting on a show, but in another realm when Hela kind of breaks it up. That part's really fun. But my favorite story in here is the Penny Parker versus Punisher by Yuji Kaku. And this one is a really cool one because these are the kind of Demon Days versions of those characters. Like Punisher is like a really traditional garb, but he still has giant guns.
Okay.
And Penny Parker has it's less of like a spider mech and more of like a spider puppet type thing. But in this one, Punisher is hunting a monster. He's almost like a witcher in the
Oh, nice.
woods. But soon learns that the monster in the woods might be the good one, and the people who hired him may be the bad ones. It's really cool. I'll have to show you some panels after this of just this version of Punisher.
Okay.
It's just really cool. So if you're, I would say, yes, it's Marvel Rivals, but if you're more a fan of the Demon Days stuff, even though Peach Mocha only does one of the stories in here, it definitely has that flavor across all of them, but with some different creators taking on those versions of the characters. So that was really fun. So it's just a one shot, and this is the only cover I have.
Okay. Well, next up, we've got Thor #5. Ooh, excuse me, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. So the first part of this issue is a discussion between Loki and Odin, who returned. I think it was at the end of last issue. But even though Odin is back, his status is much more different now. He is no longer the king of Asgard, and so they're having a conversation about Thor and what's been going on and that kind of thing. And then the other half of this book is Sigurd Jarlson, who Thor, but not remembering he's Thor, and I don't really know if it actually is Thor or if it really is physically a different person who has a memory. I don't know. I don't know how that all works out, but he's in the place of Thor. But Sigurd is being questioned by the police about all of the Serpent Society goons that he either killed or severely injured in issue #3. Which that issue was cool. It was a big fight in like steel girders of a building, and he had a hammer on a rope and he was throwing it and pulling it back. He messed up a bunch of guys, and now the police are questioning him about it. And the ending of this issue kind of sets up what may be a pretty epic story to come with sort of the I guess maybe the main antagonist of this story so far. Which makes me want to go back and read a different Thor book to kind of get caught up on all that. So yeah, just another really cool. Like I didn't finish Immortal Thor. I read about 10 issues or so, never finished it. So I still am a little bit confused as to how we got here and all the details behind it. But I'm still enjoying this book. It's interesting, and I want to keep checking it out. So
it's doing something new.
yeah, it's doing really something new. Yeah, it's like, is Thor gonna get his memories back, and if so, how? And what's he gonna do until then? Like, it's pretty darn good. I like it. So this is our A cover right here, and we have this is nice. This is shoot, I didn't get the artist on. Oh yeah, duh. That's why I didn't write it down. That's the Netho Diaz cover
That's
with
the
Enchantress.
sweater weather cover.
Oh yeah, okay.
She's in a hot tub in the Frost Giants realm, which is cool.
And this is the 1/25 Mahmoud Asrar cover that we're selling for $19.99. Super classic Thor in New York.
He's not on the inside of the book, but classic Thor's on the outside.
Yep.
Well, next up, I've got another one-shot. This one is a holiday spectacular. It's Thundercats Holiday Special 2025. You have to say it that way.
You have to say it that way.
It's in parentheses. This is by Ed Brisson, and the art's by, there's 3 artists, Fabio Gallo, Manuel Ercolani, and Gianna Zafiro. And this was really fun. So this definitely picks up a lot of stuff from the show, because in this, the Thunder Tank runs into a trap high in the mountains as the Thundercats are tracking a remnant, a meteor remnant that has crash landed from their home planet, from Thundera. So they're like, hey, like there's a part of our planet still exploding. It's almost like a big kryptonite piece. But the only to get attacked by who set the trap, the snowman of Hook Mountain, which is awesome because that was a classic episode of the show, and I love that character. But soon, of course, because he's not a bad guy, they do learn his story, and it's a very sad story of how he got there. But that soon gets interrupted when there is an attack on all of them, and they all have to team up. So I won't get into too much else than that, but this was a really fun one-shot that I really liked, and I love seeing the snowman character and all that. He's not an actual snowman.
Oh.
He's a big, like, I don't know. He also looks like a big cat, but like big fur.
I don't know if he had the top hat and the corn, the carrot nose, corn cob pie.
Yeah, that would be really fun too. But recommend this if you've been reading Thundercats or you just want a little splash of Thundercats in your holiday season. He's not on the cover. No, he's not on the cover. Definitely check out this, and this is the only cover I have.
We got Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum, number 5. This is the final issue of this Black Label miniseries. And this one is a pretty action packed issue with Superman fighting against Lex Luthor and Kryptonite Man, who has all the powers of all the various Kryptonites.
OP.
Yeah, a little bit. And it's funny because he has the powers, especially of the new Kryptonites that we have seen throughout the series, and he uses those during the fight. So there's the time displacement one. There's the one that makes him grow big. Like we see all those again, but it's all in the same fight, which is pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
And so that was really fun to see. This has an ending that you definitely will not expect. And a reminder that this is a Black Label book. It's its own series. It's not connected to anything else that has ever come out anywhere else involving Superman. Yeah, very very unexpected ending, but kind of a funny one. And I'd love to see like that story continue, but I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, so just wanted to let you know that the last series, I know there's a lot of people who like this. It's been a lot of fun, and just wanted to let you know the final issue is out this week, and that's the only cover I have.
Well, real quickly, I wanted to talk about Star Wars Jedi Knights number 10, because this is actually the final issue of the series. This has been a great series so far. I wish this could have kept going, but it is coming to a close with this issue. It does wrap up the story that it's been telling about Qui-Gon Jinn and this kind of ninja assassin that was going after him. I feel like maybe it was intended to be more than 10 issues because it's wrapped up pretty quickly. I know there was some of it in the previous issue, but in this one, uh, it's all like, by the end of this, that's it. So maybe it was intended to be more, but I think they did really well with what they were given with these 10 issues, and I hope we get another series like this because I think this has been really fun. And I only had the one cover to show you.
All right, well, it's time for our Speed Force round, and this is where we talk about a few other books that we don't really have any variants for or anything like that, but we just wanted to give a quick mention that these are coming out. So we're going to start with Battle World number 4, and in this one, the battle with Korvac continues. It gets pretty like high powered and cosmic. There's a lot of energy powers and stuff going on. The Wasp makes a deal with Korvac to get him to stop doing what he's doing, and some new characters enter the fray as well that you might not expect. They're not all well. I won't say who it is, but
there's one I really was excited to see.
Yeah, there's a few that are like, hey, we haven't seen those characters in a very 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 long time. So if you've been reading the series, number 4 is out this week.
I've got a new book from Mad Cave. This is the new Space Age number 1. I didn't get to read this one as in depth as I wanted to, but I remember I really liked the setup. This is by Kenny Porter and Mike Becker, and it's the story of a astronaut who's a little too reckless, but you find out it's because he is trying to get to space because when they were kids, his brother got abducted by aliens, and he's trying whatever he can to go and locate his brother. But since he got kicked out of being an astronaut, he discovers that maybe crop circles are a secret map or schematics to building like light speed travel and all of that. So a really fun start to this series. I really want to go back and read more of it, but this is the new Space Age number 1.
Next up, we have Ghost Pepper number 6. Now, because I was confused. Let me go ahead and tell you now. This issue starts in the middle of a very crazy situation.
Yeah.
And you will think that you missed an issue, but you didn't. It just lasts a few pages, and then the rest of the issue resumes where the last one left off, and we'll catch up to that crazy situation later. So don't feel like you missed an issue when you feel like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And in this one, the mayor of the town, the Ash and Loloy and all of them are in. The mayor tells everyone who's working there that they aren't producing enough for Batar, even though they're working themselves to the bone and resources are really really low. And that's going to cause a bit of an uprising. And we finally learned why the book is called Ghost Pepper.
Yeah,
it's not a big crazy revelation. It's nothing like that, but it is kind of just cool to know what the title.
A bit of the last issue too.
Yeah,
but yeah, seeing that in here is and yeah, how it's used.
Yeah, it's fun to know kind of like what is that even a reference to? You know. So yeah, Ghost Pepper number 6 continues to be awesome.
Next up, I have G.I. Joe issue number 16. This is the penultimate issue of the Dreadnought War, and this is coming out so fast, I don't want to say too much about it, but It definitely is full of action with a really cool final page, just visually really, really cool. And I'm really interested to see how this all wraps up next issue. But feels like this just got started and it's already coming to an end with G.I. Joe Dreadnought War, I think part 4 of 5.
And next we have, make sure I got the, oh, it's 46. I wrote 5. Yeah, so my bad. Next up we have Batman Superman World's Finest number 46. Unfortunately, I did not have time to read this yet, but we love World's Finest and want to mention it anytime we can. This is the second part of the story that features Lex Luthor and Joker teaming up to go against Superman and Batman. And I have flipped through this though. We do get the fusion, the Batman Superman fusion character again. I don't know if we get the merger character of Joker and Lex yet. We'll know that later. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that the new issue is out, and I cannot wait to read this on Wednesday.
Next up, I've got No Place number 2. I did not get a chance to read this from Ignition Press, but issue number 1, this was super fun. And yeah, I will be reading this, but if you like all the fantastical worlds all coming together in one, don't miss out on No Place number 2.
And then last for me is Superman Unlimited number 8. I did not get a chance to read this one either, but this does. I don't know what the story of the book is either, but it does feature a team up between Superman and Guy Gardner. That's pretty much all you need to know to tell you that you should buy this.
And lastly, of course, I did not read this, but this is Mark Spears' Monsters Winter Horrorland, a blind bag. He's doing a lot of these now. I know a lot of people get these for the covers, so we've got a bunch of them. If you are a fan, don't miss out on picking up one of these. They are $5.99. So we've got the next one of the blind bags. We've got a lot of those now, but got that one. And that is it for Early Comics Review video. Thank you so much for watching. There was a lot of interesting stuff this week. Let us know in the comments what you are most excited to read. And head on over to infinityflux.net where you can go ahead and order these books while supplies last, especially for the variants and incentives, that kind of stuff, because those go very fast. And some of these books, like we were only down to a couple of copies of them, so make sure you get your orders in when these are released on Wednesday.
It does seem like every week when we're pulling the variants to get ready for the show, it seems like every week there's fewer and fewer for us to get because they've already been sold on the website. So and these are available on the website usually every Friday before the Wednesday they come out. So
yeah, so just keep checking back over there. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of our awesome comic content. We've got some fun stuff planned with when we can find the time. Hopefully we just, we opened the brand new Hall of Comics. I'd love for us to do a little attached video to one of the things where you get to see a little tour of it. We'll try to work that into a future video.
Do we want to mention those or no?
Not yet, but stay tuned. We got some Ultimate in-game number 1 blind bags. Stick around. We may be talking about those.
Yeah, we're going to figure out if we can do something with those or not.
Yeah, but that's going to be really cool. That might be a special episode. And we're getting into the holidays, last couple weeks for the holidays, so make sure to stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have some festive stuff coming up. Anything else?
That's it for me.
That's all for both of us. Till next time.
See ya.